Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Mike and today we are going to be talking all things Sydney Grace. And I've got a full array lying in front of you that doesn't just include Sydney Grace, but also some of my other singles. So I've got this large palette, which I call my blue, green, purple palette, that has a bunch of Sydney Grace shades in. And then also over here in this cool tone palette, most of what's going on will be Sydney Grace shades. I think actually everything that looks like a standard size round pan is a Sydney Grace shadow. And then also in this little palette, I only have one shade that is not Sydney Grace. And then I pulled these two from like other places where I was keeping those. So what I will be doing before we get started is, because I just wanted to show you how I sort of keep them. So Sydney Grace is a brand that I've tried mainly like color stories of. Like I knew I wanted to build myself a blue, green, purple palette because it's just not something that a lot of brands do. And I wanted to build myself the perfect cool toned palette as well. And yeah, these are just some extra ones that I have, and that's sort of how we laid it out, you could say. So we've got a full array here. I will be taking all of the Sydney Grace shadows out so that I can put them in their color pairing, so I can put all the blues together and all of like the neutrals and like the cooler tones and the purples, and you know, so that I have all the colors together. And then I hope that afterwards I still remember which shades came from which palette. But yeah, that's the best way I think to be swatching these and showing you these. So let me arrange that for you right now. So there you have the full array of Sydney Grace shadows that are currently in my possession. I have 42 of them, and I got most of these ordering them myself. I think in like 2, maybe 3 batches, and then a lovely subscriber actually sent me some of her doubles the other week, like a few weeks ago. So that's what's going on here. But I mainly picked out these shades to build my cool tone palette, and I mainly filled my cool tone palette with lots of Sydney Grace stuff because I loved the quality so much when I bought some of these for my blue-green palette. So the blue-green palette now looks like this. And what's still in here is some Nabla, some Colored Rain, I put in some Divina, and also some Anastasia shadows are still in here. And this is a very lonely, depotted makeup forever shade. And then, for instance, in the cool tone palette, you can see I just have this. These large round ones are the Nabla ones, and then this is a Lethal Cosmetics one, and this is a very old Catrice single that I depotted. This is the only depotted single I still have. I used to have tons, but I kind of stopped using them. That's sort of what I found when I depot singles. I stopped using them, and now I have color stories, and that works so much better for me. So yeah, that's what we've got going on here. So I think I'll just start with the neutrals, then we'll go into blues, because I definitely filled my blue-green palette with lots of other brands. So I'm going to do those first. As you can see, I have a ton of greens, and then I've got the purples. So I think I'm just going to start with the neutrals. Let's start with these mattes that I've got going on here, because I think that will be fun. So there we have those first couple of shades. So this is Regal, Winter Wonder, Concrete Road. Then we have Grounds, then we have Beyond, Officer, and then we have Plummet, which is like a deeper, like plum kind of shade, which is really nice. So yeah, these are some of the, well, I do have other mattes, but I have mainly shimmers because that's what Sydney Grace is really, really good at doing. And what I noticed with some of these lighter shades is that when you swatch them, that they go a little bit darker around the edge. I'm not sure how well that shows up on camera. It's just that these things are just so pigmented that I'm gonna have to take them off straight away because they're gonna stain my hand, and I want to film like 2 other videos after this. So let's take these off. So now I've got some neutral sort of shimmers over here, and I think that most of these are from my cool tone palette again, save for this one down here. This is a shade that I got quite randomly to sort of round off the order to get a certain amount of like, to get free shipping, I believe, or something like that. But this is called Tattletail, and it's like the only shade that doesn't really go with anything else, which is why I sort of keep it in a different palette. But yeah, these are stunning quality, as you will see in a minute. So there we have those shades swatch. I started here, which is Black Ice. Then we have this one down here, which is called, oh, what was it called again? Oh, I suck at remembering these names. Somber. Then we have Troops. Then this very bright shade in the middle is Tiara. And right next to that is Immortal. And then we have Tattletail. And can you just see, like, Tattletail is the kind of shade that just, it's not quite multi-chrome, but it has like a burgundy sort of base, and then it has like a bluish purple kind of flash. It actually very much reminds me of a highlighter I have by He Who Shall Not Be Named, but then in like a very intense eyeshadow version. And this is the perfect, like, just one shade and you're done kind of look. So when you wear this shade, you don't really need anything else, perhaps a little bit something in the crease, but this shade just shifts and looks yummy and different in every lighting. These ones are just super intense, as you can see, foily, metallic-y. These go on with a brush like this. You don't need to go in with extra layers, and they do stay put with just a simple eyeshadow base. I don't need to use a glitter primer with these. But that Tiara shade, ooh, and also Somber. Somber is a bit more like a gray tone taupe, and then Troops is more like a bronzy taupe, and then Tiara is a lot more silvery, and then Immortal has a bit of a lilac running through it. So these are my 4 like cool tone shimmers that I knew I wanted to get, and Black Ice was such a surprise to me, because if I hear the name Black Ice, I'm going to think it's very deep and very black, but in fact it's like a blue tone charcoal gray. And I love these kind of shades for navy smoky eyes, and some of these deeper navies are actually from my cool tone palette as well. So this together with that really deep navy here is just perfect for like Christmas smoky eyes and a red lip. Like I have a vision, you guys, I have a vision. So those would be those 6 shimmers. Okay, so I have 6 like true blue shades here. So let me swatch these out first. And there is like 2 mattes and everything else are shimmer. This is super metallic and the other ones are more like satiny shimmers. So there we have the blue selection. This matte over here, this lighter one, is called Oasis. And as you can see, it's not the best swatch by any means. It's definitely a shade that is a little bit on the weaker end of the spectrum for me. It can be nice as a transition if you're doing a very bright blue look for sure. But this is not the kind of shade that truly wows me. But this is like the only dud shade I have, like for real. Like everything else is going to swatch like this. This is JB, which I got in the swap. Both of these I got in the swap, or from my subscribers. So these are not shades I picked out, but I'm very happy I now own JB because it's such a nice, very vibrant blue shimmer. Then we have Slade, and Slade is like what I thought Black Ice was actually going to be, but this is a very deep navy shade with like a gray reflect running through it, and next to that is Deep Waters, and it's very similar to Slade, I have to say, but it is more blue toned. Then we have Indiana Woods, which is just the perfect, like very deep, almost black and navy matte. Like most navies are still very blue on the eye, but this, when you start blending it, it has a very deep base to it, so that's why it's great for smoky eyes. And then here on the end we get Abyss, and Abyss is more of like a satin, so it's not as vibrant looking perhaps, but it's got like a deep base and then a brighter reflect to it, so that's why that one's a bit more special. I think we can do purples next. So I've got a bunch of these like purples here. Again, some of these are for my cool tone palette, some of these are for my blue-green palette, and some of these were gifted to me by a subscriber. So I have how many are there? 9 of them. And they are all shimmers for sure, because I love a good purple shimmer. So there we have all of these swatched out. I had to put the lighter ones over my knuckle, so I hope you can see that. But I started with this one over here. So this is Sweetheart, which is a very warm tone purple. Not something I would pick out. Like I said, I got this from a subscriber, so this is not the kind of purple I really go for. What I do go for is something like this, and I already forgot what it was called. This is Pandora, and I do find that Pandora looks a lot brighter in a swatch than it does in the pan. I'm not sure if you feel the same way, but I certainly do. And then we get Fierce, which is like one of the most perfect blurples on the market. It's a purple base, but with a blue sort of shift to it, but very often I find that blurples only have that shift, and this definitely has both colors. So it's not necessarily a duochrome, it's definitely a blurple. So I think that that's nice. This is Deliverer, and this is one of my favorite purples in my entire collection. It's sort of like a purple with a bit of a golden undertone, so even though it is a bit more warm tone leaning, it is very, very stunning in terms of like what it can do and what it can, like how it will look on the eye. And then we get Magic Act, and that's the kind of warm tone purple that I do like, and that I also got. It's right here on the end. That's one that I also got from my subscriber. And then this one is over here. This is Awake, which is a satin. So again, it's not as foily looking as the others, but it's definitely a very pretty one. And then right here at the top are these two. So this one is over here. This is called Mythical, and it's a very stunning like icy lavender shade. And next to it is Winter Garden, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's a duochrome. It's a pinky lavender shade with a bluish green shift. Great transformer shade, really lovely in the inner corner. And with a blue-green purple palette, it goes with almost everything. You can just put this all over the lid or top it over any like green or blue in that palette, and it will look lovely. Oh, and then towards the end here, we have Rushed, and that's just a really intense, like very good, like cool toned, deep purple. So welcome to the green selection. As you can see, again, I have more shimmers than I do mattes, because I feel that that's where Sydney Grace just excels. Like their shimmers are amazing. Got some warmer tone greens, but also some cooler tones. Some greenish blues, like turquoisey kind of bluish shades, so these could have gone with the blues perhaps. I've got 2 like very duochromy kind of shades, and then I've got 4 mattes. So I think what I'll do is I'll do the mattes with the blues, and then I'll do the other ones together. So let me start on this side. So these are those 6 shades. Do you see those lovely shimmers there? So we've got, I started here, so this is Thrilled over here, which is a really, really intense matte, like deep teal, greenish kind of shade. So, so stunning. Oh yeah, then we get Siren Call, Turtle Bay, which is just a little bit of a lighter version to the Siren Call. And then I have Island Paradise, which is just the most intense, like cool tone, dark green. Like I didn't want to go with something that was too like forest green if you want to, because that's a bit more warm toned, and I definitely, because this is from my cool tone palette, so I really wanted it to be a little bit more, like this is much, do you see the difference between those two? Like with the blue to it, and that has more like true green. And then we have Marine Waters, and we have Dive. And Dive is a shade that's like a blue with a gold flash, so it's a bit of a duochrome kind of shade. And then Marine Waters is just a very intense like turquoise shimmer. Alright, so that's the last of the Sydney Grace shadows right there. I started at the bottom, so this darker shade that you see first here, that very shifty shade, is called Red Chameleon. And this, again, I'm so happy I have this. This shade is stunning. Again, this is like Tattletail, one of those shades you can just put all over the lid and you're good to go. It's like a dupe for MAC's Blue Brown, but then it has more red to it. So this is, for me, a more intense version of Natasha Denona's Dragon Bite, which you can find in the Lila palette. This is that shade on steroids. It's so amazing. This is Green Mist, which is the next one here. And they do a couple of these shades where it's like a whitish base, and then it has a duochromy kind of shift. This is one of those shadows where I think if you want a green highlight for your face, you could perhaps use it with a very light hand. They also do Blue Mist, I believe, and Red Mist, so that, like I said, this comes in a couple of shades. Then I took the 2 other darker greens from my blue-green palette. This is Starfish, and this this is just Christmas green in a shade. Like, it's so fun. It's got a very deep, rich base, and then lots of green sparkles. The other one next to it is called Levy, and it's like Dive, but Dive has like a bluish turquoisey base with a golden flip, and this is more like a foresty green, and then it has that gold flip to it. Right next to that is this shade, and that's Cadet. And Cadet is like a very light, goldy, taupey kind of shade with a green shift. So that's why it's in my, like cool tone palette, because this is just a great shade for that taupey kind of vibe if you wanted to pull more green. Over here we have Palm Trees, which is more of like a, well, satiny kind of shade, but like a deeper kind of cool tone green. Midnight Green is one of my favorites. Look at how deep that is. Like, I have no issue putting something like this in the outer V. If I put something matte in the crease and then this in the outer V, it's just an instant like cat eye feeling for me. And now I forgot, oh, this is Keep It Fun. And as you can see, this is a shade I was very unsure of, but it's like a grayish green. It's very interesting. So can't wait to put that all over my lid. Alright, so I hope I got it roughly back together. It's always like a bit of a puzzle this way, but I think I did. So thank you very much for watching my Sydney Grace swatch party video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please stay tuned if you want to see looks with this palette, because I will be having that up later this week. So if you would like to see at least 3 looks with all of these shades that are in here, including the ones that I didn't swatch for you today that are by other brands, then for sure stay tuned for that, because I do want to do 3 looks with this palette, hopefully being able to use all of those shades. I already have looks up with all of these shades, so if you would like to know what this palette comes about, like how it all came together, then I already did a video with that earlier in the year, so that's going to come up very, very soon. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Stay tuned if you'd like to see more by me. I'm currently doing single shadow week, and we are very much in the midst of it. So I've got more swatch parties coming your way, and also my single shadow collection. So stay tuned for that. Bye.